Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Huddle, the Review.com's weekly high school sports show. I'm Executive Editor Rob Toder, joined as always by Sports Editor Mike Brown. And can you believe it? It is week 10 of the high school football season. It has flown by, and it's rivalry week, Mike, for a lot of teams, including the big one, the trophy.
Yep.
The Alliance Review sponsors, the Marlington Dukes and the Alliance Aviators, kick off Friday at 7 o'clock at Mount Union Stadium.
Yeah, the Backyard Brawl Trophy, and usually in that Rob, even though Marlington leads the series, the games have always been entertaining. I look for the same, even though Alliance has been on a little bit of a downturn the last few weeks and have had some injury problems, and they're young. I look for that to be a good game come Friday night at Mount Union Stadium, Rob.
And let's not forget, if Kansas South pulls off the miracle and the Dukes win, they would be co-champions of the NBC.
That's
so they
true.
still got that to play for
That's
as well.
true.
Now that's going to be a Herculean task for Kansas South because they've struggled. They lost a really tough one to Salem last week, and they go to Louisville, and the Leopards are really rolling on all cylinders.
They sure are, and they're ready for the playoffs. I tell you what, they're in a tough playoff region though, and they're going to have to pick it up a little bit. But I'm sure they'll get the win against South, and hopefully get a chance to rest maybe some people who may have some bumps and bruises for the playoffs the following week.
The other big rivalry in the NBC, the other two big rivalries actually. West Branch plays host to Salem.
Yeah.
The Warriors have really played well the second half of the season, and they've still got a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was figuring out the points for Salem and West Branch, Rob, and West Branch had given up 33 points a game. Salem's giving up 32. So the last person out can turn out the lights at Clinton Haycock Stadium Friday night.
They might have to replace some of the light bulbs in the scoreboard at
That's
halftime.
right.
That's for sure. Now, West Branch sits in 10th place in Division 4, Region 11. They need a little bit of help. They need some things just to fall right. And it's amazing. They were 6-4 in 2012
Right.
and lost a 2-point game to Streetsboro that kept them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And this year they can look at that Niles game that they lost by 3 points that'll probably keep them out of the playoffs again. Just so close both years.
Absolutely. and you look back, that's Niles' only win, and they've been blown out in just about every game since then. And I think, if West Branch could replay that again, I think we know that would be a different result. But hey, that's why you have to play them when they come up on the schedule.
Yeah. Now Minerva takes on Carrollton down at the Warriors Stadium in Carroll County. A couple of teams that Minerva's had some injury issues and lost a really tough one to West Branch last week in a shootout. Carrollton lost a tough one to Marlington. No doubt they're both going to be back up for this game because this is a lot of bragging rights.
Oh, it is. You talk about an intense rivalry. There's two communities that really bring it when they get together in anything. And, I have a hard time picking that game, Rob. That could go either way. I truly believe that could go either way in that game. It may come down to a last possession.
Absolutely. Now, in the ITCL, Western Reserve still has a chance for a co-championship if McDonald would lose their last game, but that's not likely. Well, McDonald plays Wellsville. Anything could happen there. But Western Reserve solidly in the playoffs. They're in second place. They've already clinched a home game. And they play host to Southern Local, who's not very good this year. They've only got one victory. So looks like the Blue Devils are rolling. Sebring out eliminated from playoff contention, but they can go for a 500 record, and that's a home game against a very winnable game against Latonia.
It sure is, Rob. And you know what? That would be a great accomplishment for the Trojans because even though their goal was to try and get in the playoffs this year, that didn't happen. But they can have their first non-losing season, I believe, since like the early '90s. So that would be a great accomplishment and something to build on for next year for Sebring.
Okay. United's still in a playoff chase. They're in 7th place, and they play host to an East Palestine team that's maybe not as good as their record might indicate. They're 4-5, and one of those wins was a forfeit against South Range. But they have won 2 in a row, and they've averaged over 35 points a game the last 2 weeks. United took one on the chin, did not play well against Crestview last week and lost 28-3. So that game could maybe go either way, too. And United needs that win to get in.
Yeah, and I think if they get that win, I think they will be in. So I think we're looking at probably 3 playoff teams. We know Louisville's already in. We know West Reserve's already in. And United with the win can get in. I think they're a pretty good shot to get in. So.
St. Thomas, another team that suffered a tough Week 9 loss, and they're right on the bubble as far as the playoffs go, too. 6-3 overall, and they will go to Warren JFK this weekend. JFK not really good this year. They've only won a couple of games, so Aquinas is not going to get a lot of help with the computer points, but they're right on the bubble, and it's going to be tough for them, I think.
Right. I crunched a lot of computer points for Aquinas this week, and all the scenarios come up where even if they win Friday night, and even I factored in some upsets ahead of them in the computer region, and it looks like I don't think they're going to make it. I hope they do, but it could be one of those years because that region's so tough, Rob. There's 5 teams in that region who are 9-0 going into Week 10, which is incredible. It really is. So
I can't remember that happening.
I can't either. So Kirtland's in there, and Garraway's in there, and there's some really good teams in there. So St. Tom has to first take care of business, win, and then crunch some numbers on Friday night because I think it's going to be that close.
Yeah, that region's so tough. VASJ 7-2. They might not even get a home game
Right.
with 8 wins. So
Exactly.
And then in the Portage Trail Conference, Southeast and Waterloo finishing up their seasons. Southeast has a tough assignment. They are playing host to unbeaten Mogador, and Waterloo with a tough assignment as well. They are playing host to Streetsboro, who's 7-2 and has their sights on a possible playoff spot too. So a lot of good action to wrap up Week 10. A lot of good matchups, big rivalry games. We'll have coverage of all those games. We'll have previews of all of them in the Alliance Review. We'll have live updates on the review.com and on our Twitter feeds. So make sure you check those out. Also make sure you check out Pigskin Picks for the contest. You can win some great prizes there. For Mike Brown, this is Rob Toder. We'll see you at the stadium.